Over the last few months, 3 brand new sports car shops have opened up near us in the west of Scotland, and that raises one big question. Sports cars are more popular than ever, or is it another hype cycle? Because if this was a bubble, these shops would not be open and could not survive. Today I'm taking a trip around all 3 sports shops, giving you guys my feedback. In episode 1 of this boom or bubble series, we're looking at, can all these shops actually survive? Let's get into it. Right, so the first thing that we're looking at in this series is going to be sports cards. Now, I've not had the fact on this channel that over the last few months I've really pivoted a lot of my collecting into sports cards, predominantly WWE, but I'm open to at least learning and discovering some other examples. And in the west of Scotland, the Glasgow and west of Scotland area, the last few months there's actually been a couple of new shops have popped up, so I come into Clydebank first because there's a shop called Paul James Sports and Trading Cards, which I've seen all over social media that I wanted to check out. But the looks of it, he is specialising mostly in Formula 1 cards, which I am a big Formula 1 fan, so I'm interested to see what it looks like. And I know he's building up other collections as well, so I'm going to check in and see what he's got. Now, before I head inside to the first shop, I'm just going to first apologise for the state of the office behind me. I'm in the middle of reconstructing everything in here, which will hopefully be in a video coming soon, but at the moment I've had to put everything back together temporarily to finish making and then editing this video. But on screen just now I'll pop in the details of where this shop actually is. It's in the old Co-op department store building, up the stairs and amongst Paul James' home, which is like a furniture store. So the guy's selling it, he's selling kind of pop-up shops type thing within his furniture store. So that's the details on screen there, and let's head inside, see what they've got. So that was Paul James Sports Cards in Clydebank, top floor of the old Co-op building. Now, the obvious standout things from that is that it is very, very F1 centric. Now, it does have some football cards and some wrestling cards in amongst the bulk and a few other sports, but it is very, very F1 centric. And it may not have been totally clear in the clip, but very, very high end stuff as well. I know I showed a Michael Schumacher there that he was selling at $2,000. He also had a Tag 10 graded 1 of 1 Aston Martin card at $2,000 as well. So really, really high end stuff for not a massive amount of stock, but a lot of cards available from all budgets, including obviously the bulk trays that I showed you there. He does have some Pokemon cards as well, but he will admit, and he freely admits on his socials, if you follow him there, that it's not his thing, it's not his game. So he does have some, it's hard to ignore it, and he's trying to expand his reach a little bit in that space, but he is very, very centric on the sports cars and obviously heavy into F1. Now, a really, really good chat with the guy, and he spent a lot of time on whatnot and on breaks getting involved, and he is personally collecting George Russell / Mercedes cars, which is why he has so many Mercedes and Kimi Antonelli and other Mercedes cars as well. And I think that's the type of thing that's going to give that shop staying power, is it's a collector who's getting involved in the space, and because he has an existing business, he's able to open up a shop relatively low risk. He's not renting a new space, he's not spending additional money, he's basically in his office space, in his current business, he is now running a sports card shop. But he has a genuine interest in it, and I think that's what makes a shop like this potentially successful. I really hope it does well, because I've seen it pop up and these socials are growing slowly. But I had a really, really good conversation. The reason he's involved in this is he's got a young daughter and he wants to have a hobby to share with her as she gets older, which really obviously resonates with me, having a young son as well. That's one of the reasons to do this, one of these to collect things is as he gets older. Hopefully it's something that we have together as well. So it's like a really low risk environment for that type of business, but we sat and talked for like 20 or 25 minutes just about cards and how we collect and why we collect and how we got involved and how I found his shop and stuff. But I know that everybody here's dying to know what were the pickups like, so we'll jump into the pickups and then we'll come back. So 4 pickups from the shop. So the first 2 that I have here are just, as I showed you in the clips, there are a couple of Stone Cold Steve Austin cards. Again, massive into my wrestling collecting at the moment. Essentially I got these for free. The guy said at the time he was happy in a conversation with me, so he only charged me 25 quid for the 4 cards that I bought. So essentially get these for nothing special, base cards, but they'll go nicely in the binder. 2 names to start with, and then I did pick up a couple of Ferrari cards, Charles Leclerc, so that recharged the Charles Leclerc Ferrari. Again, top chrome, base card, a £5, but really liked it. And then the helmet series, which I think is just really cool. I really like the blood background. So yeah, big fan of that. And the reason I picked him up is because it's part of this office remodel, which I've already mentioned. My wife did buy me this my birthday last month, which I need to build. So that's going to get displayed on the wall somewhere and be part of the collection in the game room. So adding that in just to finish off the display nice and easily. So let's go back to full cam and let's just have a final wrap up of that first shop. So the whole purpose of this series really is that boom or bust piece. Is this a hype cycle for sports cards? Is this legitimate, sustainable? Is it long lasting? Now, I'm going to give 3 different opinions on all these shots, but for me, that one is a really sustainable business because it's a collector who has the opportunity to open up a space and sell and share his passion and hobby with other people. That was what our conversation was for 20 minutes. I would have actually left the conversation in the video clips, unfortunately, with background music. I'll get copyright dinged, so I can't do that. We'll definitely be revisiting that shop at some point. As I've said a couple of times, really high-end stuff, but it got to the stage where he was neglecting these actual customers for his long-standing home business, so I had to call it quits there. I've seen him active and whatnot. I've seen him buying more stuff. I did see on his socials that he got some sealed Topps Chrome F1 cards from America, and I know he's asking people for inputs on how he should help grow the business and how he should best share it. So I think it's worth following Paul James cards on all the socials and stuff. See what's happening over there, because I think it's really interesting talking to somebody with a genuine collection passion. Obviously helps that I do like F1. We talked about the cars, talked about last year, we talked about what's coming with the reg changes in 2026. We talked about both wanting sim rigs, which may or may not appear there in the next few months. So that's what makes me think that this is sustainable. Why have we suddenly 3 of these businesses open up within half an hour of Glasgow? Because there is demand for it. People are exiting other spaces. We nod to what's coming in episode 2. Other trading cards are really hard to come by, so people are like, well, what else do I like? I know that's how I've ended up here, because I'm like, well, I like my sports, I like my wrestling, I like my Formula 1, let's just buy stuff and collect. So first business, Paul James cards in Clydebank. Huge fan, really interesting, definitely worth checking out. Business number 2 is Nebula Sports and Trading Cards, which opened I think around October time in the Forge Market in the east end of Glasgow. Details we'll put up on the screen somewhere. Very different shop. Didn't get a lot of filming done in here. The reason being it is an indoor market type setup, so it's just a small stall in the corner of the Forge Market. But he does have some really nice cards, not quite at the £2,000 cards that I seen in the first shop number 1, but at 50 to 100 quid range, lots and lots of collectibles, some really nice autos, particularly football. I did buy one out of the shelf, some really nice looking cards. I'm not going to lie, autos especially really standing out, but he had a really good bulk box with some good offers on, so let's dive in. I'll show you the minute or two footage that I've got, and then again we'll come back, we'll do pickups, and we'll wrap up first. Shop 2, so Nebula, Forge Market, East End of Glasgow. I actually feel enough to apologise to the guy that owns Nebula, because I'm legitimately missing 2.5 minutes of clips. I'm not on my phone, not on my iCloud, I'm not in the edit, I have no idea what's happened to them. But showed you it was in the cabinets. He had another display right at his main office desk, which had some other high end stuff, a really nice, or a couple of really nice Real Madrid autos, a Xiaomi and a Camavinga, which I won't lie, I was tempted, and I did really try and convince Ross to let me buy for him to buy the Fashion Sakala, because Fashion Sakala is his favourite football player of all time. You know, it's like second favourite athlete of all time. It's like Bill Goldberg, Fashion Sakala, that type of thing. But this is what's really interesting about this whole video, is it's a totally different sell, because it's a market stall. It's a bit modular, because I think he's got to take everything away every night, and then obviously the market's only open Thursday to Sunday, so for 3 days of the week it's empty, or the whole building's empty, so everything's sort of in cabinets that you can put up and take down. Had a really good conversation with him. Asked him what the business was doing. He said it was doing really well. He was really happy with it. He says he does really well with the school kids. Thursday, Friday, they come in at lunchtime and spend their money. I think the most expensive car I've seen was maybe 150, 200 quid. So not, as I say, super high end, but like really in that sort of, you know, I'm collecting cars and maybe I'll splurge on one nice card this month or whatever type range. So again, we'll talk about this boomer bubble scenario. This is why I think these businesses are actually going to play off each other so well. We've just seen one which is really high end stuff and is really hyper focused on one area. This shop had a little bit more of a spread, does aim towards football in terms of his higher end stuff. But the bulk bins, which I'll go through in a minute, had stuff from all different sports and backgrounds. And as I said, there was a couple of Formula 1 cars as well, even in the kind of slab stuff and in the cabinets. So it's aimed at this feels like it's aimed at a different group. This is more of like, I'm going in here with 10, 15, 20 quid and see what I can come out with, versus I'm looking for a very specific Formula 1 card that we see in shot 1. So even though we're talking about these shops being competitive and competitors, they're actually all hitting slightly different niches within sports card collecting. But it is that time where we go through some pickups. So let's head. Well, what we'll say is that when it comes to these bargain bins, or these bulk bins, everything's price marked essentially, and if it's not price marked, it's £1 a card or 10 for a fiver, which is why I'm talking about how it has a different niche. It's like you go in there with 10 quid, you can come out with 20 cards if you really wanted to. So I'll show you what I picked up right here. So as I mentioned just there, the bulk bins, 10 cards for a fiver, £1 each, so it's worth picking up as many as you can get really. So let's pick up a nice Charles Leclerc, again just to add to that collection that I mentioned that I've just started growing for that display with my Lego. Another one from 2023. Okay, not a bad card for essentially 50 pence, really happy with it. And then the rest of them are all wrestling cards, so I will cycle through quite a few British wrestlers. At the time, I think I thought Braun Breaker was going to become world champion that week, so it's like buy low, sell high, but not happened. This might be my favourite pickup actually for the day. Again, this is part of what we're talking about with the guy, and I'll mention that in a second. You know, Harlem Heat, 90s tag team, 50p card, but I just think that's so cool. Obafemi, if you know, you know. This guy's just bleeds aura. Absolutely epic the weekend at the Royal Rumble, and cannot wait to see what he does in the main roster moving forward. A Charlie Dempsey, because I need to pick up more card to get to 10. He is British, and also he's William Regal's son. Everybody loves William Regal. Ludwig Kaiser, again, he's another guy wrestler that I like. This is why I love these types of cards. British Bulldog. You see the real British team in these pickups. Once again, Kit Wilson's is absolutely a tear right now with epic entrance music, and I always pick up Noam Dar when I see him, since he lives just down the road, or he's from just down the road. So that was the stuff at the bulk bin, and then picked up just another 4 cards. Rick Williams, again another guy is on a bit of a tear, and another Noam Dar, because like I say, if I see a Noam Dar card I'll pick it up usually. A Solo Sokoa, because I am PC and Solo. I do have a lot of Solo Sokoa cards. and then right at the back another Charles Leclerc to 199, which I think is just, the checkerboard design is really, really nice, especially in F1, because obviously the checkered flag. So really, really happy with pickups, and just growing that collection ever so slightly. So I've just popped up in Stonehouse to head into PCommando cards. My understanding is it as a business it's been around for quite a while, mostly doing online sales and stuff, but the actual physical store opened sometime in 2025. So as has been the kind of the theme throughout this video, we have 3 relatively new sports card shops in the west of Scotland, which is good to see. Obviously there seems to be a bit of specialty across a lot of them, certainly the Paul James sports cards, a lot of F1, that's what he's personally collecting as well. Nebula, leaning towards football side of things and all that kind of bulk stuff. And then from what I can see, this place has a lot of sealed, which will be interesting to see. I still think it has other TCG as well, so I'm open to what happens. So try and get some footage in there and we'll see how it looks, and we'll talk to you guys when I get back home to the office. So that was PCommando cards out in Stonehouse near Glasgow. This is the most established business of the 3 we visited, because they've been a big name in the online space for a while. They have sold mostly to breakers and as a sort of mail order service for a number of years, and they have been a reasonably big part of the Comic-Con, trade fair, card show type scenes over the last few years. So they're a well-known, well-established name, but the physical store opened just before Christmas. And again, has been the theme throughout these videos. We're looking at, the sustainability of all this. Is this a boom, or is it a bubble waiting to burst? And again, for different reasons, the first of those is this does feel very sustainable to me. The reason for that is like I said, they are a massively established name in the community. They've been around for a long, long time selling online, and the retail aspect of the physical store is new, and it is an addition to what they already do. The product is in and out the door online very, very quickly, to the point where the store owner is actively having to hold back stock from the online store to ensure that the physical shop has sufficient stock to be viable, which is obviously a great place to be. You saw there for the clips, there's a huge amount of sealed product, like more sealed product than I've ever seen from a sports card perspective in this area, in the local area in the west of Scotland, especially if you compare to the first two shops selling a lot of singles, a lot of slabs, a lot of high-end stuff. Great, sort of personal collection type stuff. Very much physical boxes there, boxes ranging up towards £1,000 for baseball and US sports. So, or baseball and other US sports, should I say. Now, once again, it is time for pickups. There is only one, so we'll jump straight into that right now. One pickup for PCommando cards, and it is the first and only slab from this day out, or days out. It is a King Woods 2022 Panini Select Ringside Action signature. It is a sticker auto, but it is a PSA 10, as you can see. It's been graded. It is looking really, really nice. I love my wrestling cards. not hidden it on this channel. As you can see, I've picked up quite a few already today, but this was the sort of first bigger card. There was a couple. There was a PSA 9 at £16. There was a Seth Rollins as well at 27, which was really nice, and even an LA Knight card. But the reason I love this is I like collecting wrestlers that I like. I don't care how much it costs me. I don't care if it's a £1 card or a £28 card. It's worth buying. So I now have a King Woods. I've now got a Big E autograph as well, and I just need a nice Kofi Kingston to complete the set. So I'm more than happy with this pickup. We'll definitely revisit this shop because there's so much stuff going on in there. It's unbelievable, especially as the actual retail store gets more and more established. Let's go back to full screen and let's just wrap up PCommando cards, shop number 3 for this video. So that was the third and final store of this video. That was PCommando cards, Stonehouse, Neil Larkhall. Just a quick recap. I think this place is unbelievable. I've never seen that much sealed product when it comes to sports cards ever, anywhere. You had NBA basketball cards, you had NFL cards, you had baseball, you had darts, you had football, wrestling. Unfortunately no wrestling sealed because I'd love to actually rip some packs of boxes, but all singles. But huge variety from sealed to relatively high-end slabs, to high-end singles, to normal singles, to bulk, base cards, everything in between. And again, really good conversation with the guys in there. Asking me if it was a breaker, asking me if I sold, if I was involved, and I just said I just like collecting and I just try and buy what I enjoy. So again, for very different reasons to the other two businesses, I think this is massively sustainable because of the name that they have built for themselves over the years, and because they clearly have such good access to distribution, which means they have more sealed product than I've seen in any independent store in the west of Scotland. Now that might change as we move forward. Got another video to go and finish making on other TCGs, which may throw up some sports cards because you never know in these other shops. But it kind of brings me to the full summary picture of this video. Is this boom or is this bubble? I genuinely think this is a boom, period, especially in the west of Scotland. I think there is a gap in the market for this type of collector. I think the one thing that may hold people back is the access to sealed product. I think there's a huge issue right now, countrywide, nationwide, worldwide, with regards to big time breakers and big time streamers getting first access to high end sealed product, and sometimes it does appear that certain people have boxes that may or may not have the best cards and the best pulls. I've seen a lot of examples recently of sports cards breakers on day of release pulling the 101s, which obviously then ruins it for other people that are waiting. However, I totally understand that when you are Tops and Panini and whoever else, and you've got distribution companies and breaking companies that are buying tens of millions of pounds worth of stock, you all look after them. That's just the nature of the beast. I really hope that these stores can thrive and grow, because I do think there's a huge gap in that market. I know when I came back and fed back to the rest of the guys, Editor Craig and Daz. By the way, Daz has been out some videos, but if you go and check out Nerds Pandemic on Twitch, you'll see him. He's playing through a lot of games at the moment, including WWE games if you're interested in that, but also playing some new releases including Resident Evil, and some of his favourite games of all time, so worth checking out Nerds Pandemic on Twitch. Anyway, I digress. I spoke to the guys are huge into sports collecting as well, and we're going to revisit these shops at some point as a team, so I think it's worthwhile if you're in anyone that's interested in these areas to share these stores with them, because I think there's an opportunity for a community to build in the rest of Scotland, and that will be the ultimate say in whether this has staying power. So I know in PCommando cards he's looking to establish some trade nights and some other events because the demand is there for it, and I think that'd be really, really good. It's definitely something I would travel through and participate in as often as I could. So that's really why I think that this does have sustainability and staying power, and why this is a boom period for sports cards in this area of the country, because there's a genuine community of collectors and it hasn't yet been hit by the scalpers. Not to say that won't happen with other TCGs, but that is a sneak peek ahead to episode 2 when I'm looking at other TCGs. But comment down below, what did you think of the video? Do you have an interest in sports cards? Are these the type of places that you might visit and check out? If you have any questions for us and what else I saw and my maybe further thoughts on the stores, let me know and I can try my best to answer them. Let me know what you're collecting if you have any interest in these collections, and let me know why you think this boom is really happening. You know, is it as simple as we have so much more access to American sports where sports cards have always been prevalent, the NFL, we basically get access to every NFL game now compared to 10, 15 years ago. That wasn't the case. Baseball's the same. NBA is the same. So is it as simple as that? Like I said, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Are you collecting at the moment? Take it easy, guys. Ross is back next week. He's leading next week's video, which is an absolute cracker. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it pans out. All about why we don't complete games anymore and we just buy. All about his gaming backlog. It's really, really interesting. Can't wait to see the finished product. And I'll be back the week after with episode 2 of this series on other TCGs. Catch you in the next one.